and welcome to the Monkey Nut Punch podcast. Time for your weekly dose of, well, no Dismal Disney this week, surprisingly. We've got our review of the Snyder Cut. We'll be talking Fantasy Falcon and the Winter Soldier and some more PlayStation 5 shenanigans. But before we get on with that, we'll say our hellos. So,
hello.
Okay. In a foreign country that has nothing to do with the CIA infiltrating and subverting a local government, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you. I haven't got video this week. I'm in a bit of a dark area.
Keith.
So I thought this was appropriate. Self-portrait.
Yeah, I was going to say, Keith woke up. Oh, crikey, I'm out of focus. Keith woke up this morning and found out it had giant sausage legs and called the medics immediately. And they turned and said, "No, Mr. S, your legs are like that normally." Just a quick one.
Hello, Dave.
Just because I can see him in the chat. How are we all doing? Nige, we doing all right?
Yeah, just tired. It's
okay.
Not enough sunlight, I think.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Told you, you're not getting out that. You're not getting out that closet until at least 3,000 Twitter subscribers. Sort it out.
Twitter followers, mate. You can at least get that right.
Well, okay. Social media, it's all the same.
All right, without further ado, let's move on to the movie news. This is one for my brothers because they like their geezers. Guy Ritchie shares a sneak peek at his latest filming starring Jason Statham. It's an Enemy article, and if I can just scroll down here to the tweet, there it is. That's a wrap. Untitled film. It stars Jason Statham, everybody's geezer, shall we say. He's recently finished off filming The Wrath of Man, which is a remake of the 2004 French film Le Convoyeur. The plot's protagonist, H. Statham, who works as a cash truck driver transporting millions of dollars around Los Angeles on a daily basis. Sounds like a heist film. That sounds very Guy Ritchie with these kind of smash cuts and bits at the end where it's like, oh, let's explain how this happened, yeah, and puts the whole thing together. Cool. We need some entertainment. We need some good entertainment, and I'm hoping it's going to be okay.
Sounds quite transporterish.
Yes, it does sound quite transporterish, but it's more. It sounds like more from like a working man's perspective, if that makes any sense.
Well, Statham, didn't he appear in Lock, Stock? He was in Lock, Stock, wasn't he? He was in Ritchie's first.
Statham was in Lock, Stock.
Do you think Statham has now been typecast?
Yes.
What?
Without a shadow of a doubt, the man has been typecast as a geezer.
Well, no, he wasn't. I mean, he's more of an action hero in certain films, whereas in Lock, Stock, he was a dweeb. You know, he was one of the nerds, nerdish sort of pub dudes, and
the grifters.
Didn't really do much. But he pulls off. He's still one of the funniest things in that movie Spy. He's brilliantly funny in that.
He's great in that.
And he was playing a sort of almost himself, but in a comedic way, and it just totally works. I don't know if he's been typecast. I think he definitely fits into the geezer role. But you know, in Transporter, he's more of an action hero, and I like the Transporter movies.
Yeah, they're quite good.
But actually, Guy Ritchie, Jason Statham, well, the last two films that he did with him, they totally worked for me. Lock, Stock and Snatch. So, in fact, those are my two favourite Guy Ritchie films.
They are good. They are good. And
I mean, I liked the recent one that he brought out with Hugh Grant was good.
Yeah, that was actually one of those films that I felt I needed. But it was The Gentleman because it came out roughly when we were like a month into lockdown. But one of my favourite bits from a Guy Ritchie film is this.
Now we are fucked.
Just a quick one. Film. I just got pulled up the film summary from the IMDb. It says, in France, the disturbed and mysterious Alexandre Demare is hired as a security guard for a vigilante armored truck company, earning 1,020 euros per month. Lodgings, hotels. I don't know why they've got cash in here. He closely becomes entangled with a group of losers without motivation or perspective, paranoid, depression, substances addicted mental. This must be translated from French because it doesn't make any bloody sense. So he sounds like this guy's down on his luck, and they go, "Why don't we just rob the fucking truck?" That's what it sounds like to me. I'm up for that. If I worked for a bank or someone's shipping large quantities of cash, that thought would go through my head every time I had a bad day. Why don't I just rob the place?
If it's got Guy Ritchie's usual dialogue, it could be quite funny.
Yeah, if it's got the snappy dialogue and the heist kind of thing, mentality and stuff behind it, I do think it'll be interesting. And it's quite nice to hear that films are being made, considering that when it comes to gaming, Nigel and I know this, that the big games are all getting delayed. Yeah, we got delays upon the bloody delays, and same with big films too.
I'm up for it. I'm up for this. Sounds interesting. It's a deal.
Does. I'm hoping it is one of these comedy heist movie sort of things. All right, Nigel, would you like to just pop through the comments before we move on to our next one?
Yep. I'd like to start with something that came in just before we started our stream, actually. Just hello to Chuck. He's busy making his own movie, and it's going to be epic because Keith's working on it.
Dude, no, mate, no.
Okay.
We work with.
Excuse me. I pulled off the James Bond intro. Thank you. And
that's
don't
one
tell me
part.
none of you fellas got a boner on that.
Still never did the what do you call it, the I Keith and the I Nigel, which I was planning on doing. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Where it's like, kind of, what's the weather like? Look out the fucking window yourself, mate. And wipe your balls against the screen to unlock. And you're like, ah.
Hello, Dave. We said hello, but Keith the Hut. Yes, the Hut. Yes.
Those giant sausage legs.
And I can't disagree with this. Guy Ritchie's movies have usually been pretty good. I can't disagree with that, really. Snatch and Lock, Stock, yeah, they're the ones that spring to mind. I've got them on DVD. Do you remember those things? DVDs.
I had lots of on VHS.
I've got loads in the house.
I think I had the soundtrack on CD too. Crikey, that's old media now.
Ooh.
And there's a hello. Hello, said The Hobbit.
Is that a picture of a small girl being crushed under an elephant's foot?
It looks like it is.
Yeah, he always picks the gnarliest of profile pictures. That's what I was thinking. Okay, right. Let's move on to our next one. Oh, hang on, sorry. All right, let's move on to our next one, which is Gina Carano reportedly fired from the Fast and the Furious franchise, fears of PR headache. Former MMA star Gina Carano's acting career took 8 major hits this year when she was fired from the wildly popular Mandalorian. Carano lost her role as Cara Dune in the Star Wars spin-off. I almost said the World War II spin-off then. Spin-off due to controversial media post. It wasn't. They misinterpreted it so they could fire her, which may have consequences further down the line. Rickman tells we've got this covered. Gina Carano nearly rejoined the Fast and the Furious. Almost came about despite the claims of the original thing happening, but was removed due to concerns by Universal Studios, and I've forgotten how to read. Right. So, we know that there's the controversies and stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. Saying that you're not going to employ someone because they're going to be a PR headache is a kind of legitimate excuse in my book.
Can I just point out a small, minor thing? Her character was killed 3 Fast and the Furious movies back. I know this.
It didn't stop
because I watched it today.
Didn't stop Michelle Rodriguez
yeah,
coming back.
Yeah, she did come back, but she's the only one. I watched it today, funny enough, and because I was like, there's Gina Carano. I forgot she was in this movie, and she gets blasted out the she's sort of shot and blasted out of the door. There's no coming back from that. She was dead. She's dead. So I don't quite see. I think this is more of a either a bullshit piece or another reason to have a go at Gina Carano. Have a go at her, because I can't see it coming back to the Fast and the Furious movies. That's all.
But maybe she was on the call sheet. Maybe they were having a flashback or something. We don't
Possibly.
know.
I think the PR headache of bringing her into the film would have been the fact that she's fucking dead and they can't explain why she's in the film anymore.
This is again.
There's the PR headache. How do we get around this, lads?
Hang on a second. Hanzo,
away?
the one from Tokyo Drift that was killed by Jason Statham. He's coming back apparently.
Oh, stop
He
bringing
was
back
blown
Deco.
up in a car full of petrol by Jason Statham.
Yeah, he is. In fairness to Gareth, that is true. He is coming back.
They don't give a shit. It's like superhero films, sort of. If you die in a superhero film, the chance of you coming back is quite high. It's like the opposite of soaps. In soaps, your chance of dying is higher than it is in real life.
See, what we didn't know about these films, about the Fast and Furious, we didn't know that they are actually set in the same universe as the Marvel universe, because the snap happened and then Iron Man's brought her back.
That could be the case. No, it was Hulk who brought her back. Yeah, it was Hulk who brought her back by accident. I get the PR nightmare when it comes to that sort of thing. That makes perfect sense. Someone goes, "Oh God, I don't want to be dealing with this shit." That makes more sense. There are grumblings that this is going to cause Kathleen Kennedy's demise, and I only say that because there was an article in Forbes, which is quite a big kind of publication.
Yeah, that was quite critical.
It was quite critical, and the guy who did it deleted his Twitter post like it was like kind of fire and run away sort of thing. Here's the thing: he run away, and it's something's going on. I don't know what. Something's going on. I think that Chapek, after having to ask that bloody awkward question, and hearing about people, especially from the toy makers, because the biggest toy was Baby Yoda for Star Wars, and the second biggest toy was fucking Cara Dune, and they killed her and they removed her.
I think what you see, because at the last Disney shareholders meeting, one of the shareholders asked the blatant question to Bob Chapek if Disney is left leaning. To which he replied that they're neither right or left, which is utter bullshit.
Yeah, I know. These people think in the centre.
And then Forbes magazine rightfully raised the thing of Pedro Pascal's post comparing Trump voters to Nazis, which is in many ways equally as bad as or equally as whatever, the same as Gina Carano's post. I still maintain that neither post was particularly sensible, but Pedro Pascal should, under the same rules that they applied to her, be fired. It's her, because her politics are conservative leaning. They fired her. Now, if that's not left leaning, I don't know what is. And a Forbes article pointed this out. Now, without going down the political tunnel too much, you can't treat one person like that and another person differently. And the Forbes article, one of the major media outlets, has now pointed that out. And I think that's given Jon Favreau probably some extra thing, because at the moment, the only Star Wars that is making any money or any kind of success with all of the fans as a general, or as it has a far-reaching appeal, was The Mandalorian. And Disney fucked it. And I think the shareholders are pissed. And a Forbes article does not help that.
I don't think it's the shareholders, it's the people who make the merchandise and bits too. I think this might be the first brick in a foundation to get rid of her. Because if he does it, and then we'll get maybe a couple of months later, we'll get leaked reports of how poorly they're performing financially. If we hear that, she's out the door. So we keep an eye out for that signal.
I don't think it's just going to be her. I think it's going to be Chapek too. I think they're going to scalp.
No. This is what I think, Keith, because we're having trouble hearing you. Is I think that Chapek's doing this. So he's going to get to a point where it's either me or you. Naturally, I pick me. That's how business works.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's scalped off too.
I don't know, because someone, and if Disney wanted to put that article out there, they'd have to be quite high up in order to send that out. And Chapek's definitely at that level, even if it's one of his stooges that does it.
It was definitely a hit piece.
Definitely a hit piece.
It
Hit
was
piece against them.
very strange to see a hit piece in the opposite direction. Look, the problem is, I think even if this happens, don't take this the wrong way, so don't shout at me. The fact that Gina Carano is now associating herself with people that Hollywood would rather she isn't, that's not going to help her. I don't think she's wrong, because these people support her, but I don't think that's going to do her good stead to bring her back, even if the thing is gone.
Associating people with, like, Jewish people, you mean?
No, I mean, she was like, she came to Geeks and Gamers defense, and she appears on certain shows like that we all know that the Hollywood types hate. So that's going to be a problem for her, unfortunately. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm not. I tend to actually agree with most of what she says these days, which is weird because I don't really agree with a lot of her politics, but a lot of what she's tweeting recently I do agree with. But look, she's a nice girl. She's a nice girl. I think she's a bit naive, but she's never come across. Every interview I've ever seen of her, she just comes across as lovely.
Yeah, she does. Considering that she could probably pummel the shit out of you.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that too.
And she's got the experience behind her to do it. Anyway, let's move on to something a bit more fun.
Can I just ask something? Before we do move on, can we just address the Hobbit, the comments? Because Bilford the Hobbit, do we actually know who this person is? Because I think this person knows me.
I am Keithy, and Keithy has done this. We've got to find we've got a mystery.
I know who you are now.
Hobbit. We've got to figure out who the Hobbit is. See, I would say it would be Nigel because he's small. The Hobbit, it makes sense. But clearly he's on stream with us. So it can't be Nigel. So I've eliminated Nigel. He's too clever, so it can't be you.
Could be Ben.
And he's got better sense of humor than me, so it can't be me.
It could be Ben.
I reckon he means the person's foot is Keith.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's Keith's sausage leg there. That's what he wakes up in the morning and sees. He sees this giant sausage foot.
Are we going to address it?
Godzilla. Anyway, let's move. Can we move on? I really want to move on to this next because I missed something, and I found an article, and I was like, "Oh crap! Did I really?" All right, here we go.
You're listening to the Monkey Nut Punch podcast.
Those bloody adverts! I want the screen better. Right, okay. Latest Godzilla versus King Kong teases Mecha Godzilla.
Hang on, before you go on to this. I think you're on the money, nice.
I'm a fan.
That is very much a Ben comment.
What?
He's the only one that comes out. I'm a fat Chinese guy. No, you're not.
Well, it's not. Yeah. All right, hang on a second. It's not Chuck, because Chuck says not me. He wants more cues. And just like, yeah, there's some nice pictures that are going around. Anyway. Godzilla, right? In the trailer, that I think we showed off last week or whatever, and we're trying to find Mecha Godzilla. No. He's in the trailer. The problem is, it's not very visible. So, can you see the picture there? Yeah? Let me.
That is a eye.
Oh, so it's a reflection in the eye.
Oh.
There he is.
Oh, so they are doing Mecha Godzilla then.
There he is with the big glowing eyes, because that ain't King Kong.
Yeah. It's Mecha Godzilla.
It's Mecha Godzilla.
Is that the glowy eyes, or do you think that's a glowy nostril?
No, they're glowy eyes.
They're doing Mecha Godzilla. There's plenty of this. Gareth was right because we saw like a Star Trek style freaking cutaway thing of him in the trailer. But that's Mechagodzilla, and that's a little hint for the fans.
Yeah, hang on a second. It's at 53. Where is it? 53.
I'll tell you what's going to happen, right? I tell you the plot of this movie, right? Godzilla is going to go all batshit crazy, so they're going to bring in Kong. Kong and Godzilla are going to have a fucking massive fight, right? But that's going to be halfway through the film, because then Mechagodzilla is going to come in, right? And that's going to be the bad guy, and we're going to get a Kong fucking Godzilla team up to kick the shit out of Mechagodzilla.
I
That's
think
pretty much the plot of the movie.
I think it goes like this. I think Mechagodzilla is faking. This is my prediction. Mechagodzilla is faking attacks. I've said this before. It's faking attacks on things, and everyone's going, "Why is Godzilla going crazy like that?" Godzilla's out trying to find Mechagodzilla or whatever this other Titan is. Yeah, so they've gone shit. Let's go grab Kong. So they're going to grab Kong because they're keeping him in the Arctic for some reason. They then take him out. They have a punch up. Yeah, they have a big punch up in Shanghai or Hong Kong or wherever it is. Yeah, King Kong loses. I don't want that to happen, but I think King Kong loses to Godzilla. Puts up one hell of a fight though. Yeah, King Kong backs off. Yeah, it's then revealed that Mechagodzilla's out there. Godzilla then goes to take him on. Mechagodzilla beats the shit out of King Kong because he's just not King Kong, Godzilla, because he's just had a fight with King Kong. Yeah. And then at the last moment, when you think Mechagodzilla's going to deliver the death blow, King Kong turns up and chops his fucking head off. King of the monsters.
It's gonna finish with a Kong Godzilla team up, because they're not going to kill either King Kong off or Godzilla, because they're both really popular characters. Mechagodzilla is the one who's going to be the bad guy, and I can't fucking wait for it, because it's going to be absolute mindless fucking monster trashing shit, and it's exactly what we need right now.
Yeah, no stupid politics, none of that nonsense, just a film, because that's
it's gonna be yeah, but they got to have a Japanese guy going no, not a Mechagodzilla.
What is Mechagodzilla?
It's a robot version of Godzilla built by aliens to take on Godzilla in the original Toho 60s, 70s.
So it's aliens.
Rubber man in a suit, jobby.
It's aliens.
It's aliens with an anal probe.
Oh, I just thought it was like they built this to combat Godzilla, and then AI's gone wild and took it over itself and gone rampant. And
there's a rumor that they're using the head of King Ghidorah to power its kind of body. It'll be interesting to find out. All right. Let's move on, because I'm looking forward to it because it's just something different. Anyway, brave enough to follow us on social media? Why don't you follow us on Twitter at Monkey Nut Punch? Thanks. Almost missed the button there. Right. Okay. So, Mortal Kombat. Another film I'm looking forward to, because I just want to Sub-Zero kill people because it's fucking awesome, along with Scorpion. The others can go do their own thing, but those two look fantastic. That they really thought this through. But there's some noticeably one character that's missing. It's Chun-Li. Everyone love that article. Chun-Li's missing. Johnny Cage is missing. This is a weird one because Johnny Cage is missing, and it's a bit problematic. One of the biggest personalities, right? The problem is that he kind of like suck all the air out of the room. They've got to worry that'll happen. They said like with Kano being a big personality, this, that, and the other. But they said if they got a second film, then they put Johnny Cage in. But I think Johnny Cage is already in the film, because Johnny Cage is an actor, and actors have acting names rather than their real names. And I think the Cole Young character that we're viewing everything through, who's a cage fighter, is Johnny Cage. That's what I think it is. And then in the next film, he'll take up his stage name of Johnny Cage, and we will have him. What do you think? See, I've silenced you. Bloody hell.
I'm sorry. I don't know a lot about all the characters in Mortal Kombat, I'll admit. But I kind of like the look of the trailer. So, but I'm really gutted that Chun-Li's not in this movie. I mean, honestly.
I'm gutted that Chun-Li's not in this movie. I'm going to get a t-shirt. I'm really gutted that Chun-Li's not in the Mortal Kombat movie. I might get that made up. Just for like silly things. Yeah, but I still can't go for that. What dumbass.
I don't know much about Mortal Kombat. So I can't even remember who this Johnny Cage fella is.
He was a guy who punched Goro in the balls in the original film. He's the movie star. So Johnny Cage was the movie star who was trying to prove that his martial arts were real. He was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, if I remember correctly. That's why does the split and the kick. But they couldn't get him, and they had problems with it, and they just went, fuck it, we'll put our own guy in there. So I think this guy, this new fella that we're following through, is going to be Johnny Cage. Just needs a pair of punch dates at the end.
So I don't know much about Johnny Cage and why, if he was on the screen instead of somebody else, why that particular character would suck the air out of the. I don't know. Johnny
Cage has got a big personality. He's full of ego. He's kind of like The Rock's character in WWE. I would say is probably the best way of describing it. So
fair enough. But the film does look good.
It does. Do you know what? I'm going to see if I can find. Oh, actually, no, I haven't got the notes. I've got my things set up, but the bit where Sub-Zero does the thing, makes the ice blade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out of the blood.
Out of the
really
blood.
Fucking cool.
Cool. And the bit where What's His Mush is fighting the people attacking him at his house, and he grabs hold of the rope, and he it's gonna be good. Please be please be good. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be good. I'm gonna say please be good, because yeah. Anyway, nice. Do you want to do the comments for a moment?
Yep. Right. Well, it's just this then. Hello, Napster.
Hello, buddy.
Yep. And there was a Yum Gina, but he did that, and he's got DVD and Blu-ray, and that is about it.
Okay, we're still trying to work out who the Hobbit is. I think they know Keith. That's the thing, though. Who is?
Yeah, they refer to me as Keithy, which is the kind of giveaway, because it's rare that you call me Keithy on here. So I have a sneaking suspicion that Nigel is right.
You do realise that you're the name in the bottom left corner of your picture there does say Keithy,
and your YouTube channel is Mr. Keithy Esquire.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, put on that.
I had a friend, man.
But even so, I don't believe he is a fat Chinese guy in New York. Oh, you might be. I mean, in fairness, if you are, I apologise. But I got a sneaking suspicion.
Yeah, no. So I had a friend text me and said, I saw one of your vans outside our work, like that. To which I wanted to reply, we're a multinational company, mate. You could find our vans outside pretty much any building anywhere in the world.
Yep.
There you go. I've just baited the hook. Just to get a reply. Anyway, let's move on to our next one, which is a TV section. We'll be talking about this later, but this is so I found a little interesting story because it's really dry on the TV side, I'll be honest with you. The London Eye becomes Captain America's shield to mark Falcon and the Winter Soldier's release. So we scroll down a bit. There we go. London Eye.
That's pretty cool. How did they do that?
That's pretty cool. I have no idea.
It's quite clever, that.
Yeah, I don't know if they've just put a big sheet up and projected onto it.
It could well be
just an option, or it's a Photoshop. Yeah. I thought, out of all the places that you could send to the shield, the biggest, most notable Ferris wheel in all the capitals in all the world, that one. I think there's one in Tokyo, but no one really cares about that one. Godzilla trashes that on a regular basis.
Oh, no, Godzilla. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I just thought I'd pop that in there. It was just as a big publicity stunt. Shame that there's no one in London to see it. Lockdown sucks. Sorry. Okay, so that's all I've got for TV news. As I said, really, 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 really empty for TV shows. So let's move on to Nigel's favorite section. Right, gaming news. Tescos, for those not in the UK, is a supermarket chain where you don't get your best clothes from. And they also sell things like games consoles, but they had a bit of a weird one. This article is really poorly written, but how can I put it? Birmingham Live has been our constant source of information for buying consoles. Go away, I don't want to add you to my home screen. Tesco's issuing an urgent warning as shoppers hit by new rules. Right, this is a weird word. I read the article and I was like, I think I can understand it. It's not written very clearly. Tesco's had a restock on Friday through a legitimate Tesco's website, and then moved to Tesco, and then had to move this Tesco's website. This is what I keep looking good. This Tesco's website to a more in-house kind of location, because someone, a scalper or a hacker or whatever you want to call them, had put up a fake website and was taking orders from there. We've been made aware of an unofficial pre-order site using the Tesco's brand. This is no way affiliated with Tesco's or active on demand. Please do not pre-order PS5s or Xboxes from here. There is no further info on this scam. Weird one, real weird one for that. So they managed to set up a scammy thing. I think they're getting a little desperate, the scammers, because they're getting to the point that when the shops and bits reopen, people are around to get these things easy, because we've got another story where, let's see if I can get this up quickly. We have another story from Eurogamer, where an NHS exec's Twitter account was hacked and to promote a PS5 scam. So we've gone from the Tesco's fake website phishing for people's details with a PH to Helen Bevan's Twitter account, which was hacked and replaced. You didn't have two-factor authentication on there. Multi-factor authentication is probably the safest way to go, just to make sure everything is fine. But I think they turned a thing into this. So PlayStation restock update news. I think the legislation is coming because you fucked with a government official. I think you might have just greased the wheels to increase the speed of this of our glacial fucking system when it comes to legislation. According to the BBC, Bevan paid £110 to have her account restored within 25 minutes. But they turned out to be a scammer too. Who knew? Who knew? The shenanigans are high when the shops reopen. It's all gonna, this shit will disappear because companies will push people to go to shops. That's what's going to happen. They're going to push people to go to shops because they need the footfall in the shops and they need to make the money in the shops. Full stop. Otherwise, they're going out of business. It's funny. I do find it funny, the fact that she was hacked and then told to, how can I put it, give her £110 to get her account back, and then that was a scam too. It was, dude. These
well,
things
yeah. After she did that and realised that was a scam, she finally got her account back, and she said, "Oh, just for everyone, if you need to get your account back, speak to Twitter." I was like, "Well, yes, surely that." I mean, surely that's the first thing. She went straight to some account services person who's created this scam thing to get her Twitter back and get scammed again, because clearly she's got no common sense. She might be incredibly smart in what she does, because a lot of people are like that. They're really, really smart, but common sense kind of eludes you. I'm with a company doing this and I've lost my account. I'm going to go to another company to ask them to give me my account back. What?
I'd just like to
Who
point
does
out,
that?
NHS, high up during the pandemic, most important for like security of the country and security of health. Not good at all.
Unbelievable. And you mentioned people going back to the shop. Now, Tesco's, in that article, they show a picture in there from Tesco.
Yeah, go on.
They show a picture from the Tesco where it's saying sold out. And it's sold out. However, you order it to be delivered to the nearest Tesco, and you pay in store when you pick it up. So it's going to eliminates some of the scalping thing, unless people are in local areas scalping.
Yeah.
So, and it's limited to one per person. So they're doing a bit to try and limit it. But it's getting there. It's getting the order in first. That's the tricky bit.
It is getting that order in. Yeah, Keith, just now I'll put you on mute because you've got some weird background noise going on. Unmute yourself.
I think it's frogs.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, I can hear that. It's
Randomly.
definitely frogs.
Okay.
It is the
And
frogs
that's
shagging.
not the French.
It's the French.
There's probably some of them in too as well.
All right.
But sorry about that.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so this shit needs to end soon. We've been going through this for like 2 months now, with all this scammy shite. Anyway, let's move on to our next story. Watching the content so far? Why don't you leave a comment and join in with us? Right, forget the Snyder Cut. We want to see the Kojima Cut of Metal Gear Solid 5. Kojima's notorious for taking ages to make his games. And Metal Gear Solid 5 wasn't finished. I know this wasn't finished. I played it all the way through twice on an Xbox and on a PlayStation, and still nothing in regards to a proper end, because there's a bit cut out of it where he's supposed to go to this other island and fight the junior liquid snake. That sounds really like a bad turd. So yeah, there's still more in regards to this. It's how can I put it? It's a common criticism that the game felt a bit disjointed and incomplete, in the Kojima project. But his games are often super polished and almost filled with cutscenes, good or bad. And this seems to be missing something, because there is one where he's supposed to recover. What do they call it? There's like a proto Metal Gear that's causing issues, which the kids steal because he has some child soldiers on base, and they steal it along with the help of like Psycho Mantis and whatnot. I would like to see the end of it, and it's supposed to recover them and sort a load of stuff out. And then there's other bits too, because their base is supposed to get attacked again and destroyed after they get betrayed by someone for a second time. Yeah, it did felt that the third act of a 3-act game was missing. It was a pretty good.
So they released an unfinished game.
Not quite. They kind of tied it up a bit, because there's a bit in the middle and then it just cuts to the end.
Fair enough.
So they kind of did, but it wasn't like it's not a Kojima unfinished game. Is narratively unfinished, not structurally unfinished, shall we say. It's not like a No Man's Sky or a Cyberpunk, where clearly they didn't get the things working properly. More like an Obsidian with Obsidian's more technical, but they did have all the story in there. It's like the opposite to Obsidian, where Obsidian have these great stories and have lots of technical difficulties, where this has got all the technical bits all sorted, but is missing a few narrative bits here and there. They did try and close it off, and I would have liked to have seen what happened. Because the missions towards the second half of the game, the second half of the second act, start repeating themselves, because they didn't have anything to fill it in. It was like, do it this time, but do it this way, but don't kill anyone. Do it this way, but never be seen. That sort of stuff. But I would like to see a full version of the game. Downside is that Konami and Kojima, it ain't fucking happening ever. The only way it'll happen is if Sony buy all the all the Konami licenses and have them in their catalog, so that they can then produce games or farm it out to third parties to produce games. I see that as an option, actually, considering that Microsoft bought Bethesda, and Bethesda have got all their bits there. So yeah, that's one of those kind of interesting things that makes you go,
Well, wasn't he at the time, Kojima? Wasn't he making Metal Gear Solid 5 whilst there was bits going on between him and Konami? And I think maybe he was near the end and he said, I've still got bits to do, and they went, nah, we're pushing it out, we need him at the door now.
That was one of the reasons that he went off.
And I think usually it wouldn't have been released when it did, because Kojima could have said no, but they wanted Kojima out. So they just went, nah, stuff it, it's good as it is.
The problem was that he was fannying around.
Well,
He
isn't
was.
that
There was no
Kojima?
two ways about this guy. This guy's an auteur, which means that everything has to go through him. Everything has to be done to his spec. If not, go back do it again. It's probably the gaming equivalent working with Gordon Ramsay, where he sits there and goes, "No, it's fucking raw," that sort of thing.
You're an idiot sandwich. Yeah.
Yes, no, a PlayStation 5. So yes, it is interesting. I would like to see. I don't think it'll ever happen. I think Sony should buy all those game right things from Konami. I think that they could probably farm them out to third-party developers and find the right people, and hopefully give them things like the Decima engine and whatnot to make them good. Because Death Stranding, old game that it was, looked fantastic. It was done really well. It was quite put together quite well, but it was a bit shit, which is annoying. It was shit because of other players, because they'd leave like fucking bollard, like post boxes just outside the thing. So if you drove your bike out, you could hit it straight away, or it stopped you running around certain areas. And it was just like, oh great, being punked by some kid. Just a quick one. Hello, Malcolm. Oh look, he's drinking a beer. Yes, Malcolm and I have been playing Apex Legends, and Malcolm starts off really well, and then he gins himself up, shall we say, and then loses and seems to degrade a little bit in quality, but it's funny to listen to, because you just hear him go, "Ah, fuck! No, I've been shot! Which is great. Okay, let's move on to the review sections. We're going to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then we're going to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Get my mouth right, and then the Justice League Snyder Cut. So here we go. Right, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All right, I'm gonna sum up my review like this. Oh, I'm not fussed.
That bad.
Didn't grab me.
It was all right. Not great.
It had you said that the open action scene was great, where he's attacking the Hercules with Batroc the Leaper in it. I kind of zoned out because it had that I described as the fly down the canyon section that seems to be in quite a few films.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was thinking, right, they've all gone down a canyon. He could quite easily just fly above it and just watch where they go, seeing as he can choose which direction he can go and change his direction and all that sort of stuff. But he was sort of trying to mimic people in those wingsuits who, let's be honest, are governed by gravity. And they're sort of like gliding down, whereas he's got a powered suit and he couldn't catch these gliders up. And you're going, you caught a helicopter up going, what is going on? You caught this plane how can you not? That's the bit that knocked me on that. And it sort of set the scene, really. It was, since that was the most exciting bit, and it was downhill from there. Just boring.
This is the thing, is the feeling of too little butter spread over so much bread is the kind of feeling that you get from these things. The Winter Soldier bits were good. You got a guy who's 109 years old, trying to find his way in a world that's completely alien to him, and at the same time, he has, how can I put it, murdered people outside of his control. So
I thought the Shrink was a bit of a dick, though.
No, I like this. I like the Shrink. She needed to be a bit of a dick because he was being a dick, and she was turning. She was trying to be nice. He wasn't being nice. I'll be a dick. There you go, because you were being a dick. Do you understand? Okay, carry on. Oh, you're being a dick again. Now I'll be a dick. Yeah, and that's a perfectly.
I'll be honest. I wasn't watching it too much because I was zoning out. I was so fucking bored, so I couldn't really concentrate too much. To be honest with you, I found WandaVision's first episode more enjoyable than this.
There's a lot more. What's going on here? What is this? This is a mystery. Explain.
Yeah. Although we mentioned it when we were chatting before, the bit I found interesting was actually a bit in the bank with Falcon and his sister trying to get a loan. Now, it doesn't sound interesting, but it's just the bit where the bank manager asks Falcon, I thought you guys get paid by Tony Stark or something. And he went, no, it's sort of like, volunteering, essentially. We don't get paid for it. And I went, oh, I never realised I needed to know if the heroes get paid, but now I know.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the most interesting bit out of the entire episode. I really, really, really hope following episodes get more interesting than that.
I found it weird because when it got to that bit, it seemed like his sister had a chip on her shoulder. Yeah, he didn't. He was like, no, this is how we do things. He's like, oh no, because of the blip. It's like, turn around and goes, look, if you need someone to throw up collateral, I will phone what's left of Tony Stark. I will phone Tony Stark's wife and ask her if she'll be kind enough to put the collateral up to cover this, or give me a reference or something. But I need to. I'm one of these people who believes that I find my own way in the world and pay my own bills. Yeah. And his sister, he just seemed to have a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to backhand her and say, look, we'll find another way. The whole blip thing I found quite interesting with it. Well, you haven't technically worked for the last 5 years. Really? I didn't exist for the last 5 years, you bastard.
Are you aware that there was a bit of a snap?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Because you think it's like kind of, the government's got a form of something that you have to fill out, which you give to your employer, and then your employer signs off on it, saying that, yeah, we plan to employ him for the next 3 years or whatever. You'd expect something along those lines. There would have been some government. It sounds really awful. There'd been some crappy government policy that would have been horribly bureaucratic, and it would have been sign it in triplicate, put it in Pete for 2 days, sign it in triplicate again, send it backwards, send it forth, send it up the chain, send it down the chain, and then give it to the blood.
I reckon. I think they would have put a policy in place saying you can't discriminate against people who have been blipped.
Yeah. Sorry, they've been. You can't do this with people who didn't exist 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm going to be around in the next 5 years. If not, there'll be a health insurance. If it would have been him, I'd turn around and go, yeah, but you've got to pay out for a massive life insurance policy just in case you die, so all this shit gets covered because you do dangerous stuff. So it's going to cost you a lot a month, probably more than your repayments on the mortgage. That's what would have been the thing back. It would have come back and gone, Christ, I do a dangerous job, and I'm not going to have any kind of cover because of that really interesting thing. Anyway, that was the bank scene. All right. We go to move to Bucky and the old man that he's been hanging around, the old Chinese fella that he's been hanging around, who's getting upset when he remembers his son, and then Bucky remembers the fact that he blew his brains out in front of a hotel room door. That was probably the most interesting bit. That he's there, and then he has this flashback, and then he feels guilty, and then he runs back and he goes, I don't think I paid for lunch, and goes to give him some money, and because he wants to say it, but he hasn't got the courage to say it. He'll sit down and face 30 people armed with machine guns, but facing up to his kind of bit there, it doesn't tally. Keith, you've been really quiet. I'm assuming you're eating.
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
Thing. Not Falcon and the Winter Soldier, no.
Ah.
I forgot it was coming out. I was too busy watching the Snyder Cut to remember this. It was only when you guys went Falcon and Winter Soldier, I went, oh shit, that was March the 19th, wasn't it? Oh crap, yeah. I haven't watched that. I had to go through a 4.5 hour or 4 hour bloody movie as well. So, I thought that was I thought I'd better get through that before Sunday because I know we're going to be talking about it. So, I sort of soldiered through that in between keeping the wife happy because, a holiday and everything. So I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it. I will watch it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
If you go in with low expectations, then you might be happier.
You'll be let down.
After WandaVision, I am going in with low expectations. It's kind of a shame because I'm hoping Loki's good, but
I think the first episode will be, and then it'll go downhill. I think it's going to be a ski slope for Loki.
I'll be honest. Out of the two that were coming, I'm more looking forward to Loki. I wasn't at all looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier because I just didn't like those two characters in the films anyway.
I thought I was going to get some silly, mindless Saturday afternoon TV show. I'll be honest with you.
Bit of a comedy.
Something a bit, Tropic Thunder.
Actiony comedy.
And they bashed this as as a standalone movie in episode format. That's what I heard it being described as. So I kind of went, it's only 6 episodes long. So
Is it
if
only
the first
6?
episode, apparently.
Fucking hell. Disney are really fucking scraping. I'm surprised they haven't got splinters in their fingers, the amount of barrel scraping they're doing there for content.
Oh, they are. With Marvel, I don't think they haven't got a coherent plan, it feels. I don't think WandaVision was particularly great. I don't think it did anything to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But then, look, I haven't been very much... you know what I feel about the last Avengers movie. I think the blip was a massive mistake narratively that I think it's going to cause you so many problems moving forward that it just doesn't work.
Hi, this
There
is
are so
Nigel,
many...
and I'm talking in my lovely narrator's voice. Bask in its loveliness. But don't bask for too long. We need your help. Come to YouTube and watch our videos for the love of God. Well, send Keith round to your next barbecue and he'll eat all your food. Toasty! You have been warned.
Did I disappear there?
You didn't disappear. I clicked the bump for the next section. It was an accident. I was trying to click the comments because I saw some comments coming to check. I hit the bump.
I thought you'd had enough of what Keith was saying. It's like,
No,
stuff it. Well, let's move on.
Complete accident, I'm afraid.
Don't worry. But no, I'm not really. The only thing I'm looking forward to is Loki because I think it'll be a bit different. I half am looking forward to Secret Invasion, only to know what Nick Fury's up to after seeing him in that, cutscene at the end of Spider-Man 2. I'm kind of looking forward to Spider-Man 3 again, just to see what happens. But I'm kind of over Marvel at the moment. I have to admit,
Endgame felt like the end, didn't it?
No, I didn't like Endgame. I don't think Endgame is a good movie. I don't think it works narratively, and I think it was given way too much praise. I mean, Tony Stark is a selfish fucker. He let millions and millions of people suffer because he wants to keep his kid alive. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It didn't fit with Stark's character, really. The more I watch Endgame, and I've seen it a fair few times, the more it just does not work. The 5-year gap makes no sense, and I don't. You don't see why the Hulk is. They don't explain the Hulk not coming out of in. You had this whole sort of storyline in Infinity War with the Hulk not coming out to fight, which they never really explained in Endgame. Then you get Hulk and Bruce sort of together, but you don't see that ever happening. And they filmed it, but then they just cut it out of the movie. It doesn't work. And WandaVision
cut of Endgame.
Yeah. WandaVision didn't work for me because they hinted at a load of things that could have been absolutely massive and got me really excited about the Marvel Cinematic Universe again, and they completely took a dump on that.
Yeah.
And they did it on purpose, and I know they did. It feels a bit like Iron Man 3 subverting expectations. It didn't work for me, so I'm not surprised.
Iron Man 3 is not that bad, for crying out loud.
It is in the fact that it is and it isn't. If you're not a big Marvel fan and you don't know those storylines, then I can see why a lot of people liked it. But if you really wanted to see extremists, and you really wanted to see them do the Mandarin, they took a big dump on that. And look, I get why people like it, but it seems like they did that again in WandaVision, but far more so. It feels like Disney, Marvel not liking the real fans again. That's what it feels like, and I suppose I'm slightly
I think what it is I think companies think that going after the woke dollar, shall we describe it as, it is an option. Yeah, they think that the people on Twitter, that 2-3% of angry, politicized young women who don't like anything,
not just young women, it's men as well,
are miserable, are worth something, and then go and see their stuff, and they don't realize that they're fucking dirt poor, and all they do is that weird dopamine hit of getting a like. It's a bit crap. And I think that's what they think. I think they got it because I think what it is a, as I said, it's a break glass in case of emergency sort of thing. They think that there's money there that they can tap. What they don't realize is by tapping that money, you're letting this money go. So instead of going back to these people who gave you all the money in the first place, they're going after these people here who've got fuck all. Yeah. And while we say that, let's move on to our next bit.
A word's too much for you? Then you should follow us on Instagram. We put pretty pictures out. Thanks.
The Snyder Cut. I'm going to move... Oh, crikey, Nige, your face, man. It's huge. The Snyder Cut, I'm going to move Keith up in the chair too, because this is where the slightly fatter boys talk. I was going to say the big boys talk, but I'll say slightly fatter boys talk. So, I watched the Snyder Cut on Friday evening. I'm going to have to mute you, Keith. Unmute yourself when you're doing it, because I'm getting some wicked feedback. I watched the Snyder Cut on Friday. I was going to play Apex Legends, and my mate, Malcolm, if you're still listening, let me down. So I decided to watch the Snyder Cut instead. So I went through the whole rigmarole of setting up a Now TV thing and watch and getting a 7-day free trial. Popped onto it. Oh, it's in 4x3. I must have the settings wrong. So I've gone into the thingy, checked to see if I had any settings wrong. No, it's 4x3 because it's supposed to be an iMac.
Do they not display the pretentious message at the beginning then?
Right, no, they didn't. Right, okay. No, they didn't display the pretentious message at the beginning.
So on HBO, if you watch it via HBO Max or HBO Go, it says to preserve the original vision of Mr. Zack Snyder, this presentation is going to be displayed.
Anyway, what I was going to try, what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted there, is it came up in 4x3, and it did say that it was supposed to be in IMAX format. Now, my experience of IMAX format is Chris Nolan. His stuff, for example, where if you watch the Dark Knight Returns, you've got that beginning sequence with the Joker. It's all in IMAX, and it basically fills the entire screen. No black bars. Everything's fine. Not in 4x3. I'm sure IMAX isn't in 4x3.
IMAX is 16:9.
IMAX isn't 16:9.
I thought it was widescreen.
No. IMAX is larger than widescreen. Higher than widescreen. I know that.
I know.
IMAX is 1.43 by 1.
Okay.
143. Oh my god, 143 or.
And Zack Snyder's is 4x3 aspect ratio.
Oh right, okay. So there's IMAX, and CinemaScope. Let me just share my screen, and I will show you because this thing really knocked me. I was in a foul mood from the off. Yeah, if I can bring that up there. Right, let me share my screen. Okay, so IMAX Digital is that, and this one here is the IMAX film, which is 1.43, which is closer to 4x3, but still looks shit.
Yeah, I agree.
Done it IMAX Digital. You lazy bastard.
It's full frame. That's what that was. But anyway, on the HBO Go app, it's some pretentious bullshit about Zack Snyder's vision. And then you read that he bangs on about finding the 4.3 format really interesting, and it's not. It's annoying.
No, it's not. Do you know what it looked? I looked at it and thought that looks like a fucking Instagram video. Now you get the IGTV. It looked like it was designed to be on Instagram.
I agree with you. No, it was awful. Immediately, it doesn't look like a film. It looks like I'm watching some old fucking VHS video. On an old TV.
I thought I had the pirate edition. No, I really did.
It's pretentious bullshit. He's made a movie. He's exploring one of his own things because he thinks he can get away with it, and that's all it is. It's absolute bullshit. The human eye is trained to see widescreen when it comes to movies. That's what we're trained to see. And even more now with with the fact that we've got widescreen TVs at home. Nobody's got a 4.3 TV anymore. Nobody looks anything on a 4.3 fucking screen. No. Even on an iPhone, when you watch a YouTube video, it's in 6:9 format. Quibi didn't work because nobody likes the fucking upward format. The only reason that YouTube Shorts get away with it is because they're less than a minute long. So therefore, people aren't that irritated by it. When you put a 4-hour fucking movie up and try to watch it on a widescreen TV with black bars on either side, it's really fucking irritating.
All right. Okay. Enough about the format. Let's get into it. Right. It was split into 6 parts. 6 parts, including an epilogue too. So you had 6 parts to this film, and the first 2 parts were fucking worthless. I did not like those first 2 parts. Right. Hang on. My first irritation. Right. Bruce Wayne's come over this hill. He's going to go and visit Aquaman. He wants to get him on there. Yeah. The only guy with albino eyes in an entire village built like a brick shit house. Yeah. Yeah. That's the Aquaman. Have you not figured it out?
Bruce knew that.
Yeah.
Bruce knew that.
No. He didn't know that because there was a bit where he twigs.
No, he knew that.
You watch it.
Walking in the room.
You watch it, and there's a bit where he twigs. And you see the turn where he goes, now I know. Now I know.
No, he didn't. He knew it was. He was looking at him all the way through. I disagree there because I remember that.
He twigged. Well. I can even show you on film where the bit where he twigged happened. Anyway, that's not the problem. That was one of the problems. The next problem is, Aquaman does the thing where he goes out to the water, and then this bint starts singing.
Yeah,
and I'm like, she's singing No Limit, right? I would have preferred that. She's singing No Limit. He turns and disappears. She then carries on for a fucking minute.
Yeah, but this is
scissors.
This is it's ego being massaged, and
it's bullshit. No, right? He needs to.
I know.
He needs to sit down with someone who will turn around and say, "Zach, mate, that's crap."
But I'll tell you one thing. It's still it's Batman versus Superman director's cut all over again.
No,
the more coherent
movie. Let's go through it. Let's go through it bit by bit. All right. Lois Lane, she keeps visiting the grave of Superman every day. She gets coffee and that stuff there. You could have cut all of that out and just started off each chapter. Starts off her walking towards the grave, so we get a feeling that every day she's been visiting the grave. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Put some mournful music over top. Hell, you could even put it in fucking black and white. That would have worked. Scissors, right? That would have worked. So we got that bit there. Martha Kent gets kicked out of her house. And they put it back at the end of the film, but Martha Kent nowhere to be seen. She's living homeless somewhere, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't see her till the end.
All right. This is just from the first 2 acts. All right. The bits that I did enjoy, Cyborg having a story, which has ruined the idea of having a solo movie, I'll be honest with you. Cyborg having a movie with, I'm going to call him Miles Dyson because he's the actor who played Miles Dyson in there, made more sense. That character should not have been cut out, and all the stuff that he did should not have been cut out because that was spot on. There were some real... Right, okay, the Amazons, all right? You've got this big dangerous box, The men, they dig a hole and put the box in a hole. Unfortunately, the Germans dug it up during the Second World War. Okay, fair enough. The Amazons managed to hold on to their box, ironically. So on the island of Lesbos, not Themyscira, the lesbians, because they're munching more rug. They're munching more rug than carpet, right? Right? Why did they not just put it down a hole? Just put it down a hole.
Well, they kind of had it in a building that does collapse and then half the fucking mountainside. Which, by the way, made no sense.
I'd just like to point out, one, bows and arrows still, guys. What's going on? If the bows and arrows made of adamantium or something, then that's fine. But bows and arrows, what bollocks. Next thing, Steppenwolf can clearly boom tube into any fucking building and out of any building, regardless of whether it's got a ceiling
boom
or not.
Tube.
It is called a boom tube,
right?
Isn't it? If I remember correctly. And the other thing too is I think that Cyborg can open up boom tubes because what's his mission? Because it makes that noise, that dum. That's why they call it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, the whole Amazon scene was better than the original.
Oh, it was better than the original, but it didn't make it. But it still came across as bollocks.
No, but we knew it was going to. Look, the movie was the original Justice League was utter bollocks, right? As was Batman versus Superman. Batman versus Superman director's cut makes more sense. Still a shit movie. Still got My Mum's Martha, Your Mum's Martha. Justice League, better movie, looks better, nicer thing, end scene. better, more coherent. Every character's got a story now. Okay, that makes more sense. Doesn't make the movie any better.
Right, hold on. I'm just going through the first two acts, which I was just like, this is bollocks. Yeah, Amazons. They're using arrows against Steppenwolf, and clearly they're not fucking working. Those big hammers that you had, that you knocked the temple fucking down with, they would look like better weapons to hit him with. The parademons turn up. No one fucking fires a shot. Do you know what it reminded me of? Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that episode of B5 where Earth Force comes to take back the station, yeah? And Garibaldi and the security force go, right, we'll cut them off here, yeah? And the non-security guards just run straight towards where they are, and they want to hit them when they're less orientated.
Yep.
Just like, come on, guys.
Yep.
Right. So you had that. Then you had the Wonder Woman thing. They should have not given the bad guys any explanation about what they were doing. They should have cut that bit out. Just a mystery. There were lunatics doing something. That would have been fine. I could have lived with that. But having explained, right, you're here to blow up 4 city blocks, yeah? And you want to make sure it happens properly. Why is your bomb on a fucking timer? Pull the trigger.
Yeah, no, that's true.
If they wouldn't have explained what they were doing, yeah, and we didn't have any objectives, a bit of a mystery, maybe we might come back to it, would have made more sense. Wonder Woman did look fucking awesome. There were some bits where like run towards the guy who's got the gun, cut the distance down, rather than running across everyone. It looked cool, but it was bollocks. It did look
Wonder
really
Woman
cool.
was one of the best heroes in this. I mean, don't get me wrong, the CGI is dodgy in this, but Wonder Woman was good in this.
Yeah.
She was better than the original. She was treated better and given more interesting. She was just more interesting in this.
Yeah.
It's solidified, but I can't say it. I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think she's good. I know the second Wonder Woman movie was utter bullshit, but that's because she wasn't Wonder Woman in it. Really, it was all namby-pamby bullshit. But I like her, and I liked her as Wonder Woman in this. I mean, I think in the third scene when she goes to talk to Cyborg, that was presented better than the original movie, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed her in this film. I thought she was good.
Yeah, no, she was a lot better in this film. Everyone was a lot better in this film. I can't stand fucking Ezra Miller's Flash. It's fucking terrible.
No, I can. They removed him being. They removed the whole.
The guy runs limp-wristed. When I watch Olympic runners, they are fucking karate chopping that air like it's done something wrong against them. Yeah, but he's sitting there and he's got this fucking. Look at me! I could just. Well, his powers and everything made a bit more sense. Everything was a bit more, engaged with him. It was fine, but he was still irritating as fuck. The Iris West scene where he rescues her and he is being, how can I put it, very soy, very low T. That was no, Barry Allen.
I can understand why you're. I can understand why you're irritated by Ezra Miller's Flash. I don't know why the Iris West scene is there. It didn't really add anything to the movie. I think that was another one of your, as you aptly put it, scissor moments. I tell you what, I did like. And I'm gutted. I like Affleck's Batman. I don't know why, but I do. I do like Affleck's Batman. Right,
towards the end of the film, but towards the end of the film, yeah, he was a lot better than he was towards the end of the original film. Because towards the end of the original film, it was like, what you did, Batman? You helping? No. Instagram, you're in Instagram. Okay, fair enough.
I don't think the Superman Black. Okay, explain this to me. I thought the Superman Black suit was cool, but why does he keep it on throughout? Wasn't he only went to wear the black suit until he became Superman again? Because in the Death of Superman comic, he wears the black suit, but he wears the black suit up until he regains his sense of being
it's
hero.
It's the same reason for the singing. It looked cool in the edit.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. I kind of liked him meeting Alfred again in scene 5. The one thing we haven't discussed, which I actually thought was kind of cool, was Martian Manhunter, and I like the fact that it was that general geezer, and now it makes a little bit more sense.
Right. I did like it. That could have been cut too. It didn't lead anywhere.
Well, it was.
It didn't lead anywhere. Where did it lead?
No, it didn't lead anywhere, but I kind of liked it.
If it doesn't lead anywhere, it doesn't contribute to the story.
No, well, it contributed into the fact that he went, well, I joined all the dots from the last two movies, and I went, now that kind of makes more sense. And so I kind of liked seeing Martian Manhunter Hunter in this, and the fact it was played by the General Geezer, who was then the General, that joined the dots. So it did I think all of this was intention to lead to the second part, because this was always meant to be part one of two movies. He wrote two movies, and we've known about that for years. The second part was obviously what we see in the final epilogue, if you like, the fucking 30-minute long epilogue.
Right. Okay. We'll get to the epilogue when we get to the epilogue. I'm just trying to move through the actual story as it's going. So we've got to these bits. The mother boxes are being picked off one by Steppenwolf and his guys. He's beaten the Amazons already. Then they had the big fucking arrow scene. We'll set a building on fire, and Diane will know exactly what we're going on about. Yeah. That's the bit that got me. Set a building on fire and she'll know exactly what we're talking about. No, that didn't make any sense. If it was been like blue flame, maybe.
But that was in the original. That was in the Whedon cut as well.
No, that wasn't for that building. No, it wasn't just a single building.
They said she fired.
They did it like they did in Lord of the Rings in the original. It made a bit more sense because they did it like Lord of the Rings. That bit was bollocks. That didn't make any sense.
I thought they did the Pavantian again in Greece. I thought that was exactly the same.
We'll have to check, but I'm sure it looked like the special effects looked really janky, like it was added on after.
Oh yeah, they hadn't redone it. But I remember some of the scene in the original.
I've only watched the original once, and my memory won't be wrong, so I'll give you that. But it's still bollocks. That's something like.
I agree with you.
We're going to spend 5 minutes moving an arrow from here to there. It's like, give me the arrow, Artemis. Should have been first things first is right. All the Amazons should be northern lasses. Yeah, might still be northern lasses. Get me a bow. That'll take care of that shape now. Let's get back.
There was a lot of swearing in this version.
Sorry,
there was a few F-bombs and a few
there were a few.
It was R-rated, apparently.
There were a few things. Right. Okay. So he's got that. He's got the one from Atlantis. What I found funny about the Atlantis scene was Josh Whedon kept it all underwater and had them talking this, that, and the other, which was fine. But in this one, it was every time they needed to talk, they needed to create an air bubble.
Yeah, that was a bit shit. Because they talk. Yeah, you're right.
That was just what? Why? Come on, man! What's going on here? So they set that up, and then they They then decide for hang on a second. We found this mother box because Miles Dyson, Cyborg, had it. We found the mother box, and apparently it can rewrite matter and shape whole planets. It can bring Superman back to life. Yeah. Oh, and they actually had the discussion, and they reached the same conclusion, which was really good. That made sense. And then they had the Flash thing where he had to build up, and he said he had to get close to the speed of light, and then weird shit starts happening, and he can hit the box, which was a setup towards the end, which helped things make much more sense. Then his dad superheated the box and got killed by Steppenwolf. They still had the Superman wakes up on the wrong side of bed shit, where he's clearly not himself and he's attacking everyone. Yeah, okay, fair enough. And that happened, and then they left the box, and it was less. It seemed in the Whedon cut, it just felt stupid that they left the mother box on its own over in the car park.
Yeah,
that was like, what the fuck? Yeah, that felt stupid. This one, it felt a bit more like, oh my god, shit, we forgot about the mother box.
You might. It was about. By the way, we're 2 and a bit hours in before they even woke. So we're more than halfway through the movie. We're into almost the final act before they wake up Superman. Yeah, which was quite unbelievable. Yeah, we had all this bullshit and stuff up until this point. There were cool moments, but yeah, up until Superman was like an hour and a half from the end of the movie.
Yeah, because all they had was that battle under the water, under Strikers Island or whatever it was, which happened in between.
Yeah.
There wasn't much to say about that apart from it made a bit more sense. Character seemed a bit more rounded. Didn't seem as bollocks as it was before. Was pretty good, but there wasn't much of note there because I'd seen it before. But yeah, they woke up Superman and then they decided to go and take on the Shield thing. And it was weird because this time when they took on the Shield thing, it wasn't just done in by Batman first time, which was good. Because the first time he did it, he backed it in and he fired it and it seemed to open up and he goes, "Oh, I can get through there." And then he went, "Oh, no, I can't." Fuck it, use them.
I still don't like all the guns on the Batmobile. That bugs me. Still bugs me. But I like the fact that he doesn't use gun. He doesn't hold a gun. I liked the look of the final act much better. It was coloured considerably better.
Yeah, it was.
I love
the
fact they kept Aquaman's "my man" still in there. That was good. I like the bit where he's thrown off the car. They kept that in there. That worked for me. I like the fact that Batman's alone, swooping down and not doing anything superhuman, and is a bit fallible, and that worked for me. I like the fact that it isn't Batman fighting Steppenwolf because Batman would be crushed in seconds. So when it's basically you've got Wonder Woman and Aquaman take on Steppenwolf, why the cyborg is trying to sort of hack the mother boxes effectively, and you've got the Flash running around in a circle. The whole dark side wins thing, and then Flash reverses time. I'm not entirely sure that was needed, but okay.
No, that
Superman
was needed because that
in.
kind of made a lot more sense. He was a fuck
Yeah,
up.
all right, fair enough.
He rewound time just a little bit, just enough to get it sorted.
Superman and Alfred's scene was kind of cool. Superman's entry in and kicking the living shit out of Steppenwolf, kind of cool. Steppenwolf being sent back through the portal to Darkseid, just as Wonder Woman chops his head off. That was pretty fucking sweet, actually. I thought that was kind of cool. And then Darkseid sort of standing on his head. That was kind of R-rated and pretty cool and quite DC. I like that. But then we get this 30 fucking minute epilogue where we're given however many fucking endings to the film. We get this dream scene again, and Lois is the key thing again because that was going because it's been so long since this film was out. People forget that an older version of the Flash appears in Batman versus Superman, having sort of partially time traveled back, warning that Lois is the key. Because essentially, Zack Snyder envisaged two fucking great big long movies, which the Snyder Cut of Justice League is the first part. The second part was Darkseid invading Earth and kind of winning and obliterating Earth. And that's what we see in the dream sequence. What we saw was a bit of a surprise, and I called bullshit that this was Snyder's original intention. I called bullshit on this. But actually, better version of the Joker.
No,
and the multiverse thing.
No.
It was a better version
it wasn't.
of the
Not,
Joker.
Not fucking
Yeah, he was. He was better than
irritated
the
me
Suicide
even
Squad.
more than the Suicide Squad one. He really did. It was like, this is a guy who just doesn't fucking get it. He really doesn't. Joaquin Phoenix probably got it more. Keith Ledger got it. Jack Nicholson got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I get that. But he was connected to it, wasn't he? He was the only way that Batman could undo it.
But they never explained it, and it's not going anywhere. So what was the point? Pair of scissors again.
Well, no, because this was the Snyder Cut, and this was Snyder's vision, and it was potentially going somewhere because if we got the second movie, I agree with you that maybe knowing full well there wasn't going to be the second movie, but then you would have had the Snyder Cut fucking lot on YouTube going, "Oh, this wasn't the original vision. Oh, we knew that this was going to be in there. We knew this was going to be in there." So he's put out this, some of its pretentious bullshit, but it had its moments. Look, it is a more coherent movie
Yes,
than,
no,
than
I will agree with this. It was a more coherent movie, but it could have been. The
it's
slow motion
better.
was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
There's a
I
joke
agree with
in
you.
Arthur Marini's Dark Place where they go, the episodes were short, so everything without dialogue was considered for
But
slow motion.
it was way better than Batman versus Superman because he seemed to know the characters better. Batman was more Batman, and I knew Affleck would work as Batman. It makes me gutted that we never got Affleck's Batman movie because I think that might have actually been really, really good. And that irritates me more than anything else from this because I always suspected that Affleck could be good as Batman because he's a fan of Batman, and you saw that in this film, and it worked. It worked. He played the almost tired Dark Knight Returns Batman,
No,
and it worked.
that's the other thing that pisses me off too, is the fact that they keep going back to the fucking Dark Knight Returns, yeah, and they had it with the bloody tank at the end, yeah, or that other version of the Batmobile, because it just that's a great story, it is, but it only works because of the history that happened before it. If you do not lay the history out, say if you had 7 Batman films, you probably need 7 Batman films to get to the point, yeah, that you could have the
had
Dark Knight
those.
Returns.
We have had those. So this
No, we
was...
have no, we haven't, right? Because everyone has been ripping off it, yeah. Seriously,
True.
everyone's ripping off. And the only one that hasn't was Tim Burton, who did The Killing Joke instead. He was the only one who didn't rip off the Dark Knight Returns. He went for The Killing Joke instead for his story. But if you look at like Nolan's one with like the third one, what was that? Dark Knight Rises, yeah. That was again, it was a rip off of that. The Batman versus Superman where they had the fight. Fuck me, what a waste.
No, that's
yeah.
That was a yes. No, totally.
All right, and
I agree with you, but I like Affleck's Batman.
Yeah, but you need to understand that you want to set these things up. And the problem with Zack Snyder is I believe he's got no patience and no fucking impulse control. That's where I think this has come from. And I think that's his problem as a filmmaker is the fact that he can't patiently tell a story. He can't do what Nolan does and say, hey, you know what? Less sometimes is more because it gives room for certain things to breathe and certain things to happen and to feel a bit more organic and better paced.
I agree with you. I mean, look, it's still not the greatest movie. It's just a better version of what he puts out. The character, it's the best one of the 3 that he did.
Yeah.
Of the 3 DC films that he made, I would say this is the best one, only because the characters are closer to what they actually are. There's no fucking Superman being all godlike. There's no none of that bullshit. Is it pretentious? Yes. Is the music selections sometimes extremely odd? Yes. Was it been shot in 4.3? What the fuck are you doing? Has the director, basically been, had his cock massaged by the fucking studio? Yeah, blatantly, because this film feels like it. But it is the best one out of all the 3 Snyder films, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right. This wouldn't be... Oh, crikey. This wouldn't be normal. I've got to stop flapping my hands around. This wouldn't be normal if there wasn't some drama associated with this. All right? So, the drama that we had associated was that there was a charity stream that was set up and it raised about $65,000 before Zack Snyder jumped on the stream because he was supposed to be on the stream and they were expecting it to go through the roof. When the money came out, it was set up by a guy called Jeremy Griggs, who is above average, according to himself and your mum. Right? He helped set the stream up. He said he spoke to Zack Snyder and he said, look, I'm not a big fan of your work, but I can appreciate the fact that you're pushing to get this stuff done and support the fans, and you haven't been rude to anyone. And then a week before it comes out, this hit piece comes out, which is a really poorly edited document where they've literally sliced together videos to make things appear much more hyperbolic than they are. That happened, and then there was the incident in Atlanta where an unsavory character did something unsavory to a load of sex workers, in the area. It was deemed as racist, but it wasn't really racist because he was blaming them for his sex addiction. He was mad as a bag of spanners, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, long story short, which is too late, they put the stream together and whatnot, and he came on the stream and threw Geeks and Gamers under the bus, and then associated him with this act that happened in Atlanta. Yeah, like there was some kind of hate group, like bikers or meth dealers or Nazis or neo-Nazis or whatever, which was incredibly wrong. They've been quite reserved in their response and bits to it.
They have been, considering the hit pieces that have now been written, comparing them to the alt-right group, which is just a blatant lie. And if that had been said about me, I'd sue that person for it, because Geeks and Gamers have never put anything out that's alt-right.
Right, I'd just like to point out, alt-right in real life versus alt-right in the media. Alt-right in the media means you said something I don't like. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Hate speech isn't speech that is hateful or insightful. It's speech I don't like. That's all it is. These are terms thrown out to indicate that these people don't like this shit, and it is not right.
Anyway, Zack Snyder came on. He made this statement which basically cut the money coming in down instead of going up, which is what everybody intended. There were a few people that are associated and have appeared on the Geeks and Gamers YouTube stream, and I think they handled themselves with incredible professionalism. I think Jeremy, the head of Geeks and Gamers, he is Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. He has the ability to rub certain people up the wrong way because he's passionate about what he believes in. I don't always agree with Jeremy. In fact, I passionately disagree with him sometimes. But whatever they are, they're not what they were made out to be here. And they are, at the end of the day, human beings. They are human beings that have come together to help others in times of need, and we've seen that. They are not hateful people, and I think this is what Hollywood has done. It's just showing up how disgusting Hollywood is. And, you know, bearing in mind that Hollywood has given jobs to people that blatantly covered up Harvey Weinstein, and yet we never, ever hear anything about that. We never hear somebody coming on going, I'm going to disassociate myself with this woman who was Harvey Weinstein's fucking PA and blatantly knew what was going on. We don't see any of that kind of crap. So, no, I think this is bullshit. You have your suspicions that Zack Snyder was forced into doing it. I hope that is true, because bearing in mind that they were on there raising money for suicide prevention, for fuck's sake, which is something that should be very close to Zack Snyder's heart. And I think throwing these people under the fucking wagon, was just wrong. And I have a feeling that there was studio executives involved here. I think you're right. But then he did do some virtue signaling, and just fuck off with this shit.
It's one of these, it's weird because it's one of these stories that you have to wait about 2 weeks to get the truth. I hate this story.
I think there's
you have to wait. I've got my belief that someone from marketing or HR or everything says you've got to say this before you go on, because when you watch him say it, he doesn't look comfortable. He looks like he doesn't want to say it. Yeah, he looks like he just wants to get on with the live stream and not do anything like that. Because you look at him, he's having trouble making eye contact, etc., etc. It's it's annoying. It's really annoying and really kind of disgusting that it happens. I think that's a good point. I do think that's a good point. I think he's, how can I put it, weaponizing outrage to his advantage to make some extra cash. I completely understand that.
Yeah, look, I have my fair disagreements with all of these guys at the moment. I think they make too many videos about stuff where they're going, oh, Star Trek Discovery is going to get cancelled, yet it keeps getting new seasons. And all my sources tell me your sources are all bullshit. And stop saying sources because you don't have any. And sometimes I think they do weaponize this stuff, and I am getting a bit sick of it. But sometimes I watch them, but they do seem to just profit off negativity.
Right, there is one thing. Well, there's a guy called Mr. H Reviews, and he tends to have a level head on his shoulder when it comes to these things. Yeah, because he's one of these these rumors and says this is bullshit. I watched him ever since Alien Covenant was due to come out. He seems to have a level head. There is another YouTuber called That Star Wars Girl, yeah, and she put a video out, and unfortunately, her sister committed suicide. Yeah, but the Geeks and Gamers lot had put out things to try and find her. If you're in this area, send us a message. If you've seen this girl, send us a message.
Remember watching it. Yeah, look, her
But did you see
video.
that she
I
did
found
in
very
Rotterdam?
tough to watch, actually.
Yeah, where she
Sorry?
turned around because I haven't talked about this, and
Yeah,
that, and then
I
you get
watched the
that kind
video.
of thing.
It's tough to watch.
Yeah, it's hang on a second. Sorry, so Snyder showed up and
He
chatted
did
with
at
these
the
guys,
beginning.
but somehow disrespected them. It's the fact that they didn't react. It's not the fact that they disrespected them. It's the fact that he didn't react. It's the fact that if it would have been us, I would have turned and goes, hang on. I want to come, hang on a second. I would have been rude. I'm glad I wasn't on that. I wasn't put in that situation because I am that arsehole in meetings who says those things.
I would have been a bit argumentative as well.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I would have been. I would have said something. But you're right about them all coming around.
There's information. We'll find out in 2 weeks' time what the truth is. That's the annoying thing. It's the old adage, yeah. A lie can go around the world once before the truth to put his trousers on. Okay, here we go. So we're going to our next bit. And we'll welcome back Nigel. Hello, Nigel.
Hello.
Right, sorry, I know you weren't very interested in that, so I dropped you out, I'm afraid.
No, I didn't want to be part of it. Sorry. I'll let you guys talk about the Justice League, which I have no interest in.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to our classic stories. Oh, sod off with the bloody adverts. Right. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Mum in hysterics after noticing X-rated design on Sainsbury's baby pajamas. Mum took to Facebook to post a picture of the pajamas she bought her son from Sainsbury's in the sale after she noticed something a little naughty when she got them home.
Is this one of those things where somebody makes it to be massive when it's not something massive?
No, it's one of those mum finds naughty thing, and usually dildos. Look, I love a cute baby. Can you see what I see? Sorry for the people on the podcast. Can you see what I see?
Right, I agree. They have printed a pair of cocker balls with whiskers on the balls.
See, Nigel was about to go, that's his bollocks, yeah? And then so as soon as he saw the picture, he went, oh, no, it's true.
Mate, look at the top of it. It's even got the fucking P channel. Look, it has right at the top. They've even gone to the foot to give it a little dint in the middle. That is blatantly a pair of cock and balls.
It's meant to be, for podcast
fantastic.
listeners, it is meant to be a picture of possibly a lion.
It's a cute baby lion face. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but the lion's face is so fucking round and square at the top. But then inside that, for his nose and cheeks, it's the cock and balls.
And it is. It's the designer
for the whiskers.
Thinking he can see if he. It's somebody seeing if they can get away with it. They blatantly knew what they were doing here, and that's fantastic.
Oh, the baby should wear
That's
that with
amazing.
proud. It should wear it with pride.
Is it our just dirty minds or the designers are too for Sainsbury's having a laugh? She added. No wonder they were in the sale. They probably were in the sale. Some designer probably put it in and they went, oh, we've got to take that fucking off
We
sale
bought
now.
them not quite as we thought they were going to. Let's stick them in 75% off.
Yeah, let's get them in the sales. Let's get it away.
Sell it for cost. We'll sell it for cost. At least that way nobody will complain.
Yeah. Right.
To be fair, if I'd be quite happy to go to a toddler group with my toddler and everyone's wearing these cock and ball t-shirts. That'd be great.
And on that note, guys, I think it's time we all say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Keith?
Goodbye.
We
Bye.
will see you in
Bye.
the next podcast. Bye. I got a bacon sandwich. That's awesome.